Hi, folks. Rick Berube here for another Facebook Live on this Tuesday. What is today? The 16th? Something like that. Whatever it works out to be is fine. It's a day in December. And today we are very fortunate from the lovely state of Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, Christina Palermo.
Hi.
You can't see the studio audience, but they're here.
Okay, I believe you.
You can see them. All right, Christina. So look at, obviously, a lot of people in Arizona know who you are, but Nevada, California. So take a little bit, introduce yourself, tell them a little about yourself, what kind of maybe production level you're at. Give a little intro, please.
Okay, well, hello again, Christina Palermo, and I am out of the Kierland office in Scottsdale. I started real estate in 2012. I was a chiropractor for 16 years. I retired and wanted to get back into something else that I could be with people. So I've been doing that since then, doing real estate since then, obviously. My production, I think right now I have, so far for this year, I have 17 closings and I have 3 that'll close within the next 2 weeks, maybe 4. One of them's dangling, but that's it. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Production.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great year. And even with this COVID craziness going on, because I know that you were, there's a time you couldn't go to the office. Yeah, you just kept going. I
just did it from my kitchen table, a lot of virtual, a lot of FaceTime, whatever, a lot of meetings distant. You stand there, I'll stand here.
And I must say, congratulations. You just closed on your new house. Yeah.
Yeah, all that. I bought a house and closed. And
all right, can I tell them?
Right here, but there's boxes everywhere.
Well, your Christmas tree looks great, and I have to tell them our little story about when you remember about 6 months ago when you thought about buying one. The talk that you and I had, you're going, yes, but what about this and what about that? I go, you sound like a typical buyer. Stop it.
Such a new appreciation for buyers now, but I also know how to push them harder.
I thought that was. I'm listening to you. I'm going, oh my God, she's the worst buyer I've ever worked with. No,
I know. There's like nothing on the market, Rick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and remember we talked about going out door knock. Didn't you find that one door knock? Yeah, tell them about that. That's a great story.
So this is where I live now. It's called Scarlet Canyon, and it was 115 degrees out, and I like to door knock. So I was like, there was nothing on the market. I had already got outbid ridiculously on, I don't know, 1 or 2 other houses. So I got the call list and I knocked on every door that had a pool because I wanted a pool and anything I thought I could afford. And nothing came of it right then and there, but I met a lot of the neighbors and I actually did door knock this house and they were gutting it. And I gave the agent or whoever was there my card and it ended up came on the market and I jumped on it right away and I ended up getting it. So, I mean, I didn't get it directly from door knocking, but it universe sent it back. So here I am, and I'll probably take.
Now wait a minute. Now that I know you live in a neighborhood called Scarlet Canyon, I definitely know it's the best neighborhood for you. Thank you. Okay, everybody, they need to know that you're from Long Island, New York. Okay,
yes, I am from New York. You can totally rip on me, and I'll love it.
You didn't tell me it was called Scarlet Canyon. That's a riot. All right, I love it.
Because I'm surrounded by mountains, and at night it's amazing. It's all red and beautiful and gorgeous, and that's what got me. So, a little of this and that. I bought a house in the process. So, you lead generate in a pandemic and buy a house. That's what you do.
That's what you do. You know what's great too is like the message is, okay, if you have a buyer, like she was her own buyer, but if you have a buyer any buyer that wants to buy in a certain neighborhood, go knock the neighborhood, talk to the people. Now in California, you can't do that yet, but in Arizona and Nevada, you can. Wear your mask, knock on doors, talk to people. They'll be very impressed, especially the people that are motivated.
They opened their door. Even now, I mean, I haven't done it in a while because I'm just slammed right now, but people were very receptive. If they didn't want to answer the door, they didn't. I stood back. I had the mask hanging, or on, and it was no different, honestly, than pre-pandemic, in my opinion.
Okay, cool.
Same numbers. I got the same return on my, if I went for an hour, I got about 3 or 4 people in my database. And that was the same before the pandemic. So
right.
I don't feel it changed anything. But
Yeah,
that's
well,
me.
because because since you and I have been working together, you started with the phones, and then you've really migrated mostly into door knocking. So tell them a little about that. What kind of response you get, how much you do it, all that stuff. I think it'd be good for them to hear that.
Well, I always door knock around, excuse me, a new listing and a closing. Or if I just, if somebody's looking for something like myself, I just hit this is not the only neighborhood I door knocked for myself. I door knocked like 10 other neighborhoods. But in the process, I'm still putting people in my database. So, normally what I would do is at least 50 to 100, around a listing or a closing. I know personally, if I cruise around and it's not, 110 out, I could hit probably about 40 or 50 doors in an hour and a half, maybe, depending on how many people are home and whatnot. And I probably get about 5 or 6 in my database, and that's consistent. And sometimes, when I was door knocking my neighborhood here, I did get a hot lead on somebody who, is thinking about selling, not this neighborhood, the one next door, somebody who's thinking about selling, and they're coming soon. They're going to be coming soon. So it paid off, it totally paid off. Even if it's not that I ended up there, I still have packed database of people who are looking to either buy, sell, especially renters. Renters are under the gun right now. They need to find something, and they need to find something fast, because all these landlords, they seem to be wanting to sell. So, and if I was a landlord and I was done with it, I would want to sell too. So it's just a great opportunity right now, especially here. It's not even hot out anymore, So I do enjoy the door knocking, and it's just the quickest way for me to get people in the database. And I'm a cold caller, so it's quicker than that.
Right. Yeah. And you start on a normal day when it's not 30 degrees out.
Yeah, I don't care. Like if it's 110, I just go for an hour and I make sure I stop. If it's cold out, I'll wait until the morning. I usually in the summer, I'll start, anywhere from like 8 o'clock to 8:15, because people are out. They're washing their cars, they're mowing the lawn, they're doing their outside stuff because it's not so hot yet, and they're out, which is great. They're walking their dogs, and then like this time of year, I'd probably wait like till 9 o'clock, 9:30, because people are home. They're working from home. It's such a great opportunity to do it if you can. If you're willing, I should say.
Right.
But there's no magic time. There's no magic anything. It's a numbers thing, like everything in real estate. Just go out and do it, and you'll get people in your database. Simple as that. Know the script for, I always make sure I refresh my scripts for whatever I'm doing that day, even though they're embedded in my brain. I always tweak them with my own,
Personality.
stuff. And then, you just go out there and you do it, and
Yeah.
it's really not, it's not a difficult thing. It doesn't have to be a project. I leave these notepads in the back of my car, which is just how I, when I meet somebody at a door, name, address, phone number, email, and what they want to do. Very simple. And then I take this and I put it in my database. It's very simple. I don't complicate it. I do everything like bare minimum to get me what I want.
Right. And then you put them in the VAC 2.0. Now, do you send them a neighborhood watch, or do you send them a newsletter, or both? Or
it depends what they want. If they're seller, yeah. If they're, I gear it towards what they want. But yes, in essence, yes. If they ask for something specific and, they're going to be a buyer soon, I'll put them on an MLS, subscription. If they're a seller, I'll send them comps, neighborhood, whatever it is they ask for. I put it, I write it right down here, so I know exactly when I get home what to send them, and I send it right away. And then I follow up maybe that week and I say, hey, I sent you this, I sent you that, did you get it? Just to make sure. I know if they're opening it, I can see it. But,
right.
I still want to, I just use it. I set it up in a way that now I have an opportunity to call them. So now that's 2 touches in a week.
Right.
And then I always send a written thank you note, always on my little Berkshire Hathaway letterhead. And I stick 2 business cards in there, and that's how I felt. That's all 1 week. That has to happen in the week.
Right. So you contact them by door knocking. You
Mhm.
send a handwritten card. You set them up, and you call and make sure they got the card and they're getting your stuff. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Love
Any
it.
excuse to reach out to them and not be annoying, especially if they're ready to go. Be annoying. They need help. They want help. They want hold handing. And when they are ready, they will be. They will reach out too. So it's not hard.
That's such the truth. When they're motivated, you can't really overcall them. It's when they're not motivated.
Then it switches. Then they overcall you, and you're like, "Oh my god, I gave you that already." No, it's okay.
All right. So I'm assuming. So that's kind of farming activities, just listed, just sold. And then I know you keep in touch with your sphere. So I'm assuming that's going to be very similar in contact, correct?
Always. I always set up my MLS searches where when they open the email, I can see who's doing it in case somebody new pops up. And then I always quickly run to my database, check, see what their deal is and what, are they a buyer, seller, renter? And then I always, call them and, like it's like a random call. It's really not, it's planned, but just said, I just did it right before I got on with you. A guy that's a renter, his lease is up in March. He needs to start getting his act together, so I just left him a message. Hey, blah, blah, blah. I know you need to move out. Maybe we should have a chat this week. Cause I can see him opening my emails this week.
Right.
So, that helps, so yes, you have to keep in touch with your past clients. They always have questions, especially now. Everybody's got so much misinformation about the market because they're looking at the national market. They're panicking over this and panicking that. And our market is just fine, here in Arizona, and I go on Cromford and I listen to those reports because your power right now is knowing what's truly going on and educating them because they have all sorts of information from their family, their friends, national news. They're all, they make up stuff in their heads. So if you can talk intelligently about that and say,
Right.
here's what it is. This is not my opinion. This is what's going on out there in the world right now. You're so much more credible.
Yeah.
And that's been saving me a lot lately because a lot of people make up a lot of stuff that's just not true. And they're not doing it to be annoying. It's just they hear things other people tell them and they believe it. And, they should be listening to the professional who does it all day long and sells a lot of houses.
Yeah, right. You're talking about that toxic crap that's on TV called the news. Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Oh, and they're anti, you know better than me, that whole thing. And then I have
Right.
to, nice New York way, say, no, that's not how it is.
No, but at least you're probably not hearing, well, I'm waiting for the bubble and the crash and the prices to
I
come
do
down.
still hear that.
You
I hear
do?
that from the investors. The investors are the skeptics right now. And, I just kindly dispel it and give them information that's not mine, Cromford, other reports that I have, and just say, here's what's actually going on and here's how you can capitalize on it. But you have to know what's going on. If you're going to be working with investors or you're going to be working with buyers, you need to know what strategies to be using right now in the current market. You need to know here in Arizona, how do you manipulate an escalation clause, an appraisal waiver contingency? How do you, do this, and this? How do you negotiate after you've overpaid for a house and there's 9,000 repairs? You have to prepare your people for this. It's a weird market and you got to be on top of it. And it definitely helps to know what's going on for real.
Yeah. So just so people understand, what you mean is like if you have a person and you're bidding and you bid up the price of the house, it's not always going to appraise, and then the home inspection comes in. So I mean, you're earning your money today more than ever, aren't you?
Yes. And so instead of losing deals, I mean, I've lost a couple too, just because of weirdness. But instead of losing deals, I think and struggling, it's educate them on the front end, and say, here's what you should expect. Here's what is probably going to happen, and here's what you could expect on an inspection. This way, then they're not shocked. It's just like anything else. I tell them when something comes out, you need to jump on it. You don't have time to wait. You don't have time to think about it. Simple as that. It's just the way it is. And once they realize it really quick when they see you've consistently told them and guided them in the proper way for what's going on in the market.
Right. Yeah. It has its own intricacies right now, even though, this is the funny part too. This is the market that all agents go, oh, I can't wait for this market when it goes up. Well, there's just different challenges when it's crazy like this, right? I mean, have you ever seen inventory this low since you've been doing this?
No.
I know it's crazy. No. I think it's a record actually in Phoenix, Scott.
I mean, but you know what? I've had deals fall through and got them right under contract the same day. As long as you know how to manage them, manage their expectations, and be clear about what's going on. Write decent offers, write clean offers, fill out the contract properly. If I get a contract on one of my listings, I'm looking at 18 contracts. I sent one away because the guy didn't fill it out. He didn't have my information on there, and I sent it back to him. I said, look, I'm not doing your job. I don't have time. Do it right or go away. So it's tight out there right now.
Yeah. I had an agent. You're gonna love this one. I had an agent in California tell me this morning. He listed a property. It's like 700 where he is. Okay, so that's like a starter house.
Yeah.
and he got like 8 offers in the first 24 hours. And one of the agents called him and said, "Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you like 3,000 in cash on the side if you make sure our offer goes through." Yeah. He's like, I definitely didn't want to work with that agent after that.
No,
But what's
no,
going on? Yeah. It's not that quite that tight in Arizona yet, but it's getting tight.
no. I've had a couple of new agents where they, I had one woman, unfortunately, it was up against her in another contract, and she says, "Well, I have a full-time job, so I can only respond at night." Bye. I'm not dealing with that. And neither
Yeah.
the seller didn't want to deal with it either.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she's a newer agent, and she shouldn't have said that because I would have never known. But when you have your pick, you have to be smart. You have to put yourself on the other side position, the other guy's position. Whether I'm representing a buyer or a seller or an investor, I always say, when I'm looking at them, what would I do on the other side if I was on the other side of this contract? And I just try to do it as well as I can,
Yeah.
so that
No, very smart.
My
Very smart.
contracts get accepted.
All right. So you're going to do about 20 this year, 21 if everything goes perfectly. Okay. So what's your goal next year?
Well, more than that.
Well,
at least I would probably say I have different goals. Like at least probably 25, maybe to 30. But I'm slowly trying to increase my sale price. I work with a lot of investors, so that's not always possible. So I'm not going to push them, obviously, but it's always to increase a little bit. I'm not interested in luxury. I like to turn and burn, so I don't have patience to wait around and do long I don't know how to explain it without sounding silly. I do 300. I'll do I'm happy in the 250, 300 to 500 range right now for my lifestyle and my family. That's what works for me. I want to turn a lot of properties. I need to stay busy, and I like to have 3 or 4 in the hopper at every given time. I don't want to sell 4 big houses a year. That's not me.
Right.
It's not what I'm looking for.
No, I agree. I agree. And though they're easier, they go through quicker, especially if you have listings. I mean, it's really good that way.
Oh yeah.
So you're talking about a 20 to 25% increase, which is excellent. If every business could if I had a mutual fund that went up 25% every year, I'd be really happy.
You can do that in real estate, though, if you do what you're supposed to do.
You can, which is, yep. Well, speaking of that, we've come to my favorite part, which is, okay, in order, what should I put it this way? In order for you to do the deals that you want to do, in order for you to have that kind of increase, what would you say the 3 most important things you need to focus on are?
Consistently generating. I like to door knock. I kind of was doing open houses. I'm probably not. It's no open houses. I'll definitely stay in touch with my database. Definitely door knock around all these listings and properties that I've closed. I'm so behind on that just because I bought a house, but normally I wouldn't be. But I can pick that right up in January. So I would say definitely follow up with everybody in your database constantly, because just because you think somebody isn't going to do something, they might have a whole new thing that they've thought of that you don't know about, and you need to help them through it. And that has happened to me twice this week, where I was like, oh, they're never going to buy. And then we've done some work with a lender and figured out a new way to get it done. What was the question?
I don't do we have a question? We have a question. Hold on a second.
Did you ask me another question?
I am. No, I said the 3 most important things. I think you gave us 3.
I think I gave you 2. It's always follow up. You have to follow up, know what's going on in the market, and definitely know strategically what works to get contracts executed right now. Fill them out, know how to do escalation clauses, know how to do appraisal waiver contingencies, educate your client most of all, and manage their expectations so that they get what they want.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we do have a question, and
Okay.
It says, any tips on working with investors in this market?
Yeah, they're the same thing. I just tell them, I'm not writing a lowball offer. It's not going to happen. Don't waste my time. Point blank. You can talk to them that way. You have to write a full price offer, and you need to act quickly, and it needs to be clean. And you have to realize that if you're buying, we're in a seller's market. There's probably not going to be many repairs. So it's kind of an as is thing. And, that's for them buying. The sellers, the same thing when they're a seller. I mean, they're cool when they're sellers, but they still don't want to do repairs or anything like that. So I always try to nail them down and say, what is it that you want? Here's what we have. Here's what the market offers. Again, you have to act quickly. You have to, move along and write a full price offer at a minimum. Know if they're going to flip it, rent it, or hold it, because if there's not a lot of flips right now. And if they want to rent it, it's a great rental market. So yes, they have to pay full price. They most likely do, but show them what kind of rents they're going to get. And if they're going to hold it for a couple of years, the rental market's not going away. So that's what they should be doing right now, is buying and holding, in my opinion. That's what all my people are doing. They're trying to buy and they're holding on to them and renting them out just to see what happens. If the market starts to, balance or go down, they'll sell it. We're just watching all their properties.
Right. And what was the appreciation factor in Scottsdale last year? It was at least 12%, wasn't it?
12%. And rentals too. Rentals, I read something in it's like Orion commercial something. It was like 8 to 12% increase. So landlords are going crazy because nobody looks at comps. Anybody wants to pay whatever they want for rents, they'll do it. People will pay more to stay where they are because they know there's nothing out there. So, and as far as investors who have properties that, they're tired of being, landlords, now's the time to sell. So you can get two things out of that. You can contact the renter or the tenant and try to find them a place and sell the home. So I look at it all those ways,
Okay, cool. I was trying to see if there's any more questions there.
I don't know how you see them. I don't see them, but any questions are fine.
Well, it's the way we're doing it. I get to see it. Paul actually drags them over. You'll probably be able to see them.
Oh, Jeanette has okay. I see it now.
Yeah, Jeanette saying, thank you, Rick. What an excellent you may know Jeanette Attinger.
I do.
Right, here we go. Yes. All right. So so we're about at time here, but I want you to, any final thoughts you want to give them about maybe mindset or anything as far as being successful in this business?
There's always people who want to buy, sell, rent, or invest, in my opinion. It doesn't matter what the market's doing. You just have to adapt. We all adapted to the virus. That's why this is probably my best year. And it's because I didn't curl up in a ball and watch Netflix when the virus came. I don't have that option with my family. So, and I wouldn't do that anyway. You always have to adapt and roll with it. Because the market is what it is. Either you adapt or you go away. So adapt and make it happen. And we have plenty of resources at our office. We have plenty of scripts. We have plenty of classes. Everything is there. There's always people in our company that are willing to help. So there's no reason to not know how to adapt in this. Right.
Adapt, be flexible, or be a statistic in this business, because a lot of people do not make it in this business, and everything you just said is critically important.
Treat it like a business.
And you have an incredible why. Your son, your new house, your cat. All of them got to be fed.
Yeah, I have to be a six-figure income earner. I mean, that's how I've been my whole life, and I will not settle for less than that, no matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I do. That's what it has to be. And it has to keep increasing. Otherwise, I'm not doing it right or not working hard enough.
Right.
In my opinion.
You definitely work hard enough. You're just working a little smarter every day, too. So awesome. Well, Christina, I know you do your 25 because I know your coach, so I'm going to help you.
I have a great coach.
Thank you very much. No, we're going to have a great year next year. We're going to keep it rocking. Okay, you got that whole motivation. Always have had your son for the motivation. And now you got the house. You've got all the tools and everything you need. And obviously you have a great attitude. You're not afraid to try new things. That's critically important. So thank you very much for your time. We'll talk soon. Everybody else, have a great holiday season. Thanks, folks.
Good luck, everyone. Have fun.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.